So how does it work with law enforcement? Are they generally receptive? Do you tell them ahead of time what you're doing? How does that work?
It depends on the jurisdiction. I would say they're mostly receptive to what we do. Like yesterday in Benton, Illinois, we caught Kevin Getz. He has a little 3-year-old daughter. He was going after our 11-year-old decoy. It was just very vile, like anything you could think of, he said. And he also admitted to watching pornography as young as babies and toddlers and seeing that pretty frequently. But that area, that prosecutor, big shout out to Abigail Din, the state's attorney in Franklin County, Illinois. She loves what we do. As a matter of fact, right before I got in here, I was just on the phone with her going over yesterday, and she's like, she gave us an update on another guy we caught in that county in December. He's pleading to 5 years, Thomas Boucher. And yeah, so she's very receptive. That county's awesome. And a lot of places are like Huntsville, Alabama, Amarillo, Texas. And we go to places like that, we do try to give them a heads up. We do most of the time. But when we go to like a new place, we don't really give too much of a heads up. We kind of just hand it to them after. And if they're receptive, we give them a heads up the next time. If they're not, then we don't.
Have any jurisdiction said, we're not going to take what you do?
Oh, absolutely. Great Falls, Montana. We've been to Great Falls, Montana 3 times, and each time we blatantly had somebody committing a crime, straight up meeting an underage kid for sex. Each time they've made admissions, which I think were incriminating, objectively. And Great Falls, Montana, Cascade County, just each time has told us to piss off. Like they just don't want anything to do with us. And I think Montana's going to be probably state number 50 when it comes down to it if we get an arrest there. So
what do they say to you when they say we're not interested?
Well, they say you're a civilian, evidence can't be used, even though that's just objectively not true. In over 40 states, the law states for solicitation of a minor or whatever, enticement, solicitation, it changes kind of somehow with the name of it. But whatever, if you think you're talking to a kid for sex, as long as they believe they're talking to a minor, they can get charged for it. So that's why our evidence can be used in like Alabama, Texas, Illinois, et cetera, because they believe they were talking to a minor, and it's pretty obvious they thought that, and they can get arrested for that. But in Montana, it's the same exact way. As long as they believe they're talking to a minor and travel to meet that minor for sex, they can get arrested. And that's happened 3 times. And each time they were just like, well, ICAC standards, Internet Crimes Against Children standards, which I think is total garbage. Because we have ICAC detectives take up our case in other jurisdictions. I have no idea why.
And who have you talked to from Montana that's like that's told you no? Is it the DA? Is it the police?
Yeah, so I've talked to the detective. Let me see what his name is. Yeah, I talked to the detective in Great Falls. Gosh darn it, I gotta find his name. I forgot what his name was, but I talked to the detective there, and he's basically the one that was like, okay, yeah, Detective Bambenek. Bambenek. He's basically the one that's like, yeah, our DA doesn't want to touch it. He seemed to be kind of receptive to what we're doing. Like he's like, send it in anyway. I want to go over it. And I just haven't heard back since. It's unfortunate because Great Falls is a big pedo problem. I mean, if we've driven up to 27 hours from Houston 3 separate times in 2 years, I mean, that's a pretty big issue.
So, I mean, if they're saying that, there's something procedural or it doesn't fall into certain standards, yet it's being done in 46 other states. I think you just said 46 other states. And the town or the city has a problem. It makes you wonder why they're not, what's really going on. Are they sympathizers? Are they, is that, it doesn't sound like the detective is. It sounds like he, finds it something they can do. But if the DA, have you looked up who the DA is there?
In Cascade County, I haven't, but I know it's a Republican county, and a lot of people like to say the Democrats are soft on crime, which mostly they are, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a rule of thumb that if we're going to a red county, they're probably going to arrest them more than likely a blue county. We try to get them to red counties, but there's exceptions to both. I mean, there's blue counties like St. Louis County, Missouri, who loves what we do and prosecutes our people there, and there's red counties like Kern County in California and Cascade County in Montana that just tell us to completely F off. But no, I haven't really looked into the DA too much. I just don't ever want to go back to Great Falls. Don't want to beat a dead horse here.
Yeah, no, I just, it's unfortunate because ultimately, the point is getting these predators off the street.
Right.
And, And I'm not knocking how anybody else does it. But what I like about what you do is that you do get the police involved. It makes a difference. They get arrested, they go to prison or jail, and you get them off the streets, where some other people that might not happen. And, I appreciate the effort on the other side too, but I think the way you do it has the biggest impact. And ultimately, what we need in these situations are people that are making the biggest impact, because, you're not doing it for self-fulfilling reasons. You're doing it because you want to make a difference. And anybody who's doing it, to me, they should be doing it for those right reasons. And so when I hear of a DA that says we're not going to prosecute, and you don't get a good reason, and they're saying that it can't be done because of some technicality, but it's being done all over the country with, a couple hundred arrests, it makes me wonder. And I'm not making any accusations, of course, about that DA, but it makes me wonder, who are they serving and why are they protecting pedophiles?